What is up, Slap fans? Dan Hellie, Charlie Arnold here. It's another edition of After Slap, and you saw it. The rankings came out on episode 6, caused a little bit of a commotion in the house. Of course, Azael getting in the mix.
Yeah, new rankings, but same antics. We're going to talk about all that. Plus, 2 new guests in studio with us this week. One of the winners from the fights this week, Robert Trujillo, plus one of the characters on this season who has more of an interesting background, Waylon Frost.
It is time. After Slap starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. We are here on After Slap. Charlie Arnold alongside Dan Hellie. As promised, 2 guests joining us. One of the big winners from this week's episode, Robert Trujillo. And also a guy who's had a bit of a roller coaster ride, if you will, this season so far, Waylon Frost. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Going great. Excited to be here. I mean, I was happy when I got the call to be on the show and excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Really excited to be here. Yeah, I was excited when I got the call, even more excited when they told me Trujillo was going to be here with me. I didn't want to come with, like, you know, some asshole or something. So.
I know you guys get along. That's what I like about it. We got New Mexico, we have Arizona in the house, and Robert, let's start with you, man. What was going through your head when you're getting ready to fight Anthony Green? Because that was a first-round KO to be remembered for sure.
Yeah.
And you win the flip. So you must have known when you won the coin flip this is going to happen.
Yeah, so I was actually a little more nerve-wracking at the coin flip than I was for the match. Once I won the coin toss, I knew I was going to take the match. I mean, I wasn't being cocky about it, but I knew I had power to put anyone down, regardless of weight class. So, I mean, it was an awesome time, and once I got the win, I mean, it felt like a fight win to me, you know? I had all those same emotions. It was awesome.
Well, you know a little something about fight wins. You got a perfect pro record in MMA, 5-0. So no one really surprised to see you get a vicious KO. You've also trained alongside some of the best fighters in the world. Donald Cerrone, Brandon Moreno, Justin Gaethje. What has it been like for you transitioning from being an MMA fighter to a power slap guy?
The transition wasn't too difficult. I continued my MMA training. I did a lot of different type of slap techniques, I guess you could say.
Your technique is beautiful, by the way. That's one of the first things I noticed, but keep going.
Yeah, I was actually nervous about the technique at first because I've been boxing since I was probably about 10. And I'm, you know, as a boxer, you're taught to pivot your feet. And that's one thing I did in the March event when I came. I pivoted a couple times. And once I worked with Darius, he showed me how to lock down the form perfectly. And it showed in my match.
What's the most important thing in a slap fight? Is it the power? Is it the technique? I mean, it's hard to narrow down in MMA, right? Yeah. There's so many different things.
I think it's the technique most of all and your placement. If you can land clean on their jaw, it doesn't really require too much power to put someone out, unless you're going against a tough-ass dude who has an iron chin. But yeah, the technique is 100% like the most important thing.
You kind of really don't know you have that jaw until you know, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the crazy thing about it. Go ahead, Charlie.
Oh, no, I was going to say we're going to talk a whole lot more about your knockout later in the show because we're going to do Raw Slap where we take an in-depth look at the entirety of your match. So that's coming up a little bit later on After Slap. But Waylon, you have quite the story. So we want a little more background on how you got here.
Yeah, so I've been training boxing and jiu-jitsu with Donovan Cross. He was out there for the exhibition matches last March. And we were training jiu-jitsu one day, or maybe even kickboxing. But he basically got a call. You know, they were looking for some welterweights, and they said, you know, is there anyone you refer? Who do you think would be good at this? I didn't even know this was a sport, really, until probably about 3 weeks before we came out here to do it. So, yeah, Donovan gave him my number. I got a call. They said, you want to try it? I said, let's do it. And we went out and handled business.
And Donovan was kind of a badass in this,
Donovan was definitely a badass, though. Donovan actually won both of his matches last March. He was going to be guaranteed in the house. He had some medical issues, so, you know, he had to miss this one, but he'll definitely be back.
He had a decision win over AJ Hints, which
and that's not easy.
Not an easy feat at all. But, you know, I'm reading your bio, and you're like the most interesting man in the world, right? You're a bear hunting, MMA fighting, insurance selling, dirt bike riding, now slap fighting dude. Do any of those things translate? Do any of them help with slap fighting?
I mean, probably not selling insurance, but
Maybe medical insurance.
I would say
medical insurance for sure.
You might have a whole crew of people in the house you could sell insurance to.
yeah, right. I hear you. Probably set up those life policies with them. But I would say just adrenaline. The dirt bike riding, the bear hunting, fighting, stuff like that. Definitely just an adrenaline junkie, I guess. So I guess that's kind of where it all correlates.
Can we focus in on the bear hunting detail there? What are you talking here? What kind of bears are we hunting?
Black bears, brown bears.
Oh.
Right there in Payson, where you live?
It's the Mogollon Forest, Mogollon Rim, basically is most, but it's not far from Payson. We use hound dogs. My family actually, is generations of hunters, breeding hound dog and stuff. So we hunt for bear, lion, all big game.
No big deal. I feel like taking a slap is no big deal when you're hunting a black or brown bear.
I'll tell you, a lion can slap harder than anybody in this competition. So
Yeah.
I've never been slapped by one, but they can absolutely.
Have you ever had a close run-in with a bear in the Mogollon Forest?
It's Mogollon, but
Mogollon.
Yeah,
sorry,
come on,
no,
Dan.
sorry.
Get it together.
Damn it!
But no, I mean, like I said, we hunt with hound dogs. We have the best hound dogs in Arizona. So we train them. We get them on a fresh bear track. They go find it, they get in a tree, and we kind of take it from there. So I would say, yeah, nothing actually really close. I'd say probably the closest instance is, one time we were carrying one out, and we just I think it was some blood that had just gurgled and ran down and kind of gurgled, and we thought it growled, so we wasn't sure if maybe it was still half alive, so that was kind of scary.
No, thank you.
Other than that, we were good.
You know what? I'm just curious, though, because you talk about no slaps compared to, what do you call it, a Lion King slap?
No, a lion, just a mountain lion.
I Lion
You're
King.
thinking Lion King, of course. Cartoon.
Naturally,
For sure.
Scar Mufasa. But you actually got slapped by Chris Thomas, who has proved himself to be one of the hardest hitting guys on the show. You specifically said he hit like a truck.
Yeah, so he hits like a truck, but he's about as accurate as a truck too, because he took out my neck. I mean, the picture, you guys had the picture on here, actually. I was watching the show, and I mean, his entire hand is under my jaw. So I got clubbed. That's how I got knocked out, I'll respect the Chris. I respect the dude. He's an all right dude, but he definitely got away with one. So
Okay.
Well, let's talk about rankings here, because the new rankings were revealed in this episode. You're still the number 4 welterweight in the Power Slap League. But when those would come out in the house, was there anticipation? What was the feeling in the house when those rankings would come out?
I didn't know they're going to come out that quickly. So I wasn't really expecting it to happen while we were actually in the house. I know Dana had told us they were going to come out, but I was thinking, it'd be after the entire thing. So when it came out, I mean, it was nice to see, but it wasn't a whole lot of anticipation for me. It just kind of was what it was. So.
Okay, so maybe not so much anticipation, but there was controversy once those rankings dropped, because we saw some people in the house complaining, like, for example, Vern. Kathy was upset that AJ Hinz took the number 1 spot in his division, because he's like, wait a second, this guy never even made weight, so how can he be number 1 ranked? What was the talk like in the house once you saw those rankings on the board, Robert?
Yeah, everyone, they took it pretty serious, the rankings. And I know Vern was pretty pissed because he couldn't prove why he was at number 1 light heavyweight in the house. And AJ had matches to prove why he should move up. So, yeah, man, I mean, between them, it's kind of hard to decide who is the number 1. But
Did you think they were fair?
I thought they were, based on AJ actually getting half matches, and Vern hasn't had one yet. So I think once Vern actually gets to go out there and show what he is capable of, because he had his match back in March with Devin, and we saw what he could do power-wise, but he didn't take a hit. So we've seen AJ take hits from everyone. So I think AJ deserves that spot for now, but Vern's a tough competitor, so.
Nobody loved when the rankings came out more than Azael. The only thing I think Azael loved more than the rankings was Hallerhead.
His cocktails.
Right? I mean, he would point to that. He would get in arguments about the rankings. Moving up to number 2 was a big deal for Azael with all the madness. I mean, look at him right here.
Look at this dude.
I mean, it was just
No
nonstop.
shirt, talking shit.
It's just every episode. Waylon, was there ever a time when you're just listening or watching or seeing and dude, shut up?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, me and Anzael actually, we kind of, we're pretty good friends throughout this entire thing. So, the first 2 nights in the house, he was, acting like an asshole and drinking too much. It was the first couple nights. I think the dragging it on a little bit worse than it was, but at some point it got to the point where he was literally just defending himself. Like, guys were just nonstop, just giving him shit about what had already happened. So I don't think he was as bad as they're making him out to be, but it was what it was.
Kind of ridiculous stuff there, Robert. What do you think about it all?
I mean, it was crazy. I tried to calm him down a couple times.
How do you calm a guy like that down? What do you do?
I told him, I said, hey, you want to fight? I was like, come grapple me for a couple minutes. And, I tapped him out like 4 times within the minute. And I thought I tired him out for a little bit. And he got up, started drinking some more, and kept at it.
I mean, he was kind of like a small child. He had to be sent to his room, like, no, you go here, do not leave, or else. I mean, it's kind of like, what do you do when you encounter a situation like
When
that?
you were wrestling with him, was he wearing the poncho and the hat or no?
No, he was just in his red shorts at the time. I think after he got up, he went and threw it on afterwards, and he was ready for more war.
I have a question. Does he wear pants under the poncho? No, we don't have an answer.
I don't know.
That will be an answer for another
We'll find out.
day.
That's an answer
That's what I want to know about.
Wait, Waylon had no interest in answering that question.
I have no idea. I don't have an answer to give you.
Okay, well, speaking of rankings, which caused a lot of commotion in the House, John Davis cementing himself as the #1 middleweight after he got a big victory over Jesse Nutting. And he couldn't be here this week to talk about being that #1 ranked guy. But everybody, he did send us a special message, so take a look.
Hey Charlie, hey Dan. Hope everybody's doing well over there. Hope you guys are having a good time at the After Slap show. Fortunately, I couldn't make it out there to be with everybody, but I'm still at home doing what I need to do, putting in the work to prepare to hopefully, if I get the opportunity, compete for a title one day in the near future. That's all I can really ask for. Hopefully my hard work pays off in the end. I heard Rob and Waylon are there, two of some of the best dudes that you're going to find, especially in the league. So shout out to them. Hope everybody has a wonderful day, and to everyone, take care.
How do you not cheer for a guy like that? He's so nice.
John Davis has got to be like the nicest guy in the house. Yeah, he's just very laid back, very down to earth. Yeah, just super nice dude. So, yeah, I was definitely rooting for John Davis in all his matches.
Yeah, well, not to mention he's got some skills to back up that niceness. Definitely putting him in a front-running position to fight for a belt at the first ever Power Slap coming up here shortly. It was a back-and-forth fight with Nutting, though, and Dan, there were some questions surrounding that fight.
Well, yeah, in the first round, it looked like Jesse was really struggling to hold himself up. Maybe surprising, Robert, that this wasn't called after this right here.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I seen it, I thought he was out on his feet. And, all credit to Jesse. He was pretty sick backstage. I don't know if he ate something the night before.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, he was...
Like vomiting.
He was vomiting, shitting himself. I mean, he was pretty drained. So, dehydration takes a toll on taking a hit because you drain some of your brain fluids as well. And it's like rattling your brain, and it's like a rock in an aluminum can. It's pretty much what it is when you're that dehydrated. And, he surprised me after he got back out. He woke himself up, and he gave John a great match. I mean, that was an awesome match.
He did, and John's defense was great, and I think that's one of the more underrated things in slap fighting that we don't talk about enough is the chin. And John really showed a good chin there.
John's got an iron chin, for sure. I mean, you saw him eat all of them, and he's been eating just about every shot he's been taking from all his opponents. So, as important as the technique is, like Robert was talking about earlier, it is very important to have good technique. But I think the chin has got to be the biggest thing, because it doesn't matter how good your technique is. If you lose the coin toss and you go out there and get knocked out, you never get to show it anyway. So I think that chin is definitely important.
And Waylon, you called him the nicest guy in the house.
Yeah.
Is John Davis, would everybody probably be able to agree on that one, Robert?
Oh, it's honestly between him and Jesse. So it was cool that they had that
Oh.
match because they're both super nice guys. And yeah, you could call either one of them the nicest guy in the house. But they're both awesome dudes. I love them both.
I didn't realize Jesse was
Proof-
in the mix as
Proof
well.
that nice guys don't always finish last, everybody.
Well, one nice
There
guy
you
finished
go.
last, at least in that fight. How about another nice person here in studio with us, Morgan Worth, with more on the Daytona 500, Morgan.
Well, Dan, you said it. Power Slap took center stage at the Daytona 500 this past weekend. BJ McLeod drove the number 78 official Power Slap race car. And boy, was that car looking good with both Darius the Destroyer and Wolverine on each side. And of course, NASCAR and Power Slap fans had quite the reaction to seeing slap fighting on the speedway. At #1 Slap Fight fan tweeted, "I can't believe Darius and Wolverine are on a NASCAR vehicle and on Power Slap. I used to watch these guys slap each other in bars." And MMA Joey added, "I slept in my Venom gear last night so I could wake up, roll out of bed, and start cheering for the Power Slap car during the Daytona 500. And to top it all off, both Darius and Wolverine made an appearance at the Speedway this Sunday. And to see these athletes in this budding sport reach the pinnacle of racing is certainly a season highlight. And Dan, we've talked about it all season long, tracking the growth of this sport. And this crossover between Power Slap and NASCAR goes to show the best is yet to come.
Unbelievable experience. Thank you, Morgan, for
Power
those
Slap is
two
taking
guys
over.
at the Super Bowl of racing in Daytona.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Is it cool for you guys to feel like now you're a part of something that reaches just beyond the Power Slap stage? I mean, to be featured at the Daytona 500 doesn't get much bigger than that.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, I didn't really know what to expect when we came out last March. And now to see how big it's growing, it's awesome. I feel like it's going to keep growing. And, you know, us being the original season one people, I think.
The OGs.
Yeah, the OGs. I think it's just going to be like the OGs of the Ultimate Fighter, you know, so it's awesome.
Yeah, Waylon, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's great. Like I said, with as little knowledge that I had about even the sport itself, you know, I wasn't expecting, you know, all of this to come out of it. So, you know, everything that's happening is definitely a surprise, and, you know, it's great.
I hope beers are going to Donovan Cross for life from you, as much
Yeah,
as he
right?
hooked you up in this, right? What a great experience for
yeah,
you, and it's all thanks to your
absolutely.
good buddy Donovan.
I've already definitely taken care of him as far as that goes. But, yeah, no, it's great. It was good that, you know, it meant a lot to me that, you know, when they called him, because Donovan trains with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You know, he's a champion in the state of Arizona. You know, he's done the boxing, the MMA. He's kind of done it all. So for him to refer me, it was, yeah.
A huge compliment.
Absolutely, huge compliment. And, yeah, forever indebted to him for that, so.
Well, the interesting part, though, about being a part of this season is you have a lot of time away from your loved ones, right? You're in the house, you communicate with your competitors, your coaches, but other than that, you're pretty isolated. So this week we got to see that some of the guys had a chance to call home and talk to their loved ones, which was really nice. We got a little more insight into their personal lives. I want to ask you, Robert, we'll start with you. What's it like being away from your family and your loved ones so long?
It's super tough. I mean, of course you miss them, but most of all, you worry about if they're okay when you're not there. You know, I'm their protector, I'm my kid's protector, I'm my girlfriend's protector. And being away from them, you don't know what's going on back home, you know, especially being like from a super small town, you know, like everyone knows I'm gone. So you never know what's going on. It was kind of stressful, but I mean, we got through it, and it was a big opportunity I went through. And
They fully supported you.
yeah, they fully support me through everything. I mean, they got my back 100%. My town, my family, I mean, they all support me a whole lot.
And Waylon, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, you know, a different experience. I never had to go 3 weeks without being able to talk to my family before. So that was definitely different. And I think you just kind of realize how much you take for granted, being able to always, you know, you have your phone, you can always, you know, call or text or do whatever. You talk to your family, your friends whenever you want. So when you get that taken away from you, it kind of puts in perspective, you know, how much that stuff means to you.
It's definitely one of the more unique experiences I'm sure you guys have been through in your entire life, which also led to you asking the producers basically for a break, right? You needed a couple days away from the intensity and the madness of the house.
Yeah, man, being a professional athlete, I take my career super serious. And, you know, I was coming in, my opponent pulled out my first match. My second match, the weight thing was kind of my weight was a little low, so they didn't let me take the match. So I was pretty much just sitting in there dealing with all of it. I think if I was able to hit someone, I would have, released some stress, but it just all built up. And I asked the producers if I could, step away for a couple days, just to regain my composure. And it was awesome. It was cool. I mean, they did what I asked for, and I came back even stronger. It was awesome.
And when you were in the house, you talked about making Azael tap out a couple of times. Like, did you roll around with a lot of these guys? Were you getting into some fun scraps and some not so fun scraps in the house?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had to make my own training program pretty much. I wanted to keep up with my MMA side, and everyone who did want to grapple who were fighters, I got to roll around at least about 8 dudes, and like I said, I was undefeated in the house, so
I think we rolled
it was awesome. Yeah. Me and Waylon got a couple rolls in, yeah, and it was cool. And like I said, I was the smallest guy in there, and like I said, I was undefeated in there on the grappling submission aspect, so it was cool.
All right, so, yeah.
So did he make you tap, Waylon?
Thank you for reading my
I don't
mind.
remember if it made me tap, but
Come on, no, come on. You do remember. You guys remember
I
clear as
think the
day.
way we were rolling, we were rolling back control wins. So I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, I was giving him a couple tips. Yeah,
Okay.
I know Waylon wants to further himself into the MMA world as well.
So a little coaching. You're calling yourself coach too, on
Yeah.
top of everything else.
And that's how me and him started to build our bond. Like I said,
Yeah.
Waylon was one of my best friends in the house. And, it was kind of cool going in. You didn't know who you're going to be friends with. Everyone had different personalities, of course. And once you're able to get past their tough side, then that's when you're able to see who you're going to click with. And, we clicked from the start, so it was cool.
Well, speaking of a tough side, we know Azael was not the easiest person to deal with. He seemed to have antic after antic after antic that continued this week. So check out this deleted scene about someone who actually, for once, maybe put him in his place.
I kind of like you, but when I look at you, I be like, I don't like that. Can't stand that. Cause you a drunk ass, bro.
Hey, 90 more, bro. 90 more, bro. Hey, wait!
Your ass up. Tired of these dudes acting crazy. No, I'm drinking all that beer.
Don't do that, dog.
Stop! Don't do what? Don't do what?
Don't do that.
I thought you were strong. I had to handle up on Isaiah. I had no ill intent, but I just had to show him I'm way more powerful than you think. Way more skilled than you can even imagine, so. Damn, big dog. You heard it. I actually like him a little bit. A little weird when he's drunk, but I'll tap that ass for him. What?
Let's go! We are all having fun today. Obviously, Joel is a little bit pushing me, but Joel's not a bad person at all, so I just ignore Joel.
Okay, before we get to anything else, guys, PSA, he is wearing pants underneath his poncho. I just saw red shorts.
I was looking forward to it. My favorite line from Azael is, "I'm a dog. You got into a scrap with him, or not really?
Azael?
A little bit? Yeah.
Azael, no, not at all. So me and Azael, actually, me and him kind of clicked when before we did the fights, before we got into the house. He was kind of sitting there and he seemed a little bit nervous, and I was kind of talking to him, and he kind of had this attitude at the start, like, hopefully I win, if I win, kind of that attitude. And I told him, look, man, if you're not here to win, if you have the attitude, maybe I'll win, then you're going to lose. So I think we just kind of clicked right there, and I just kind of helped him build some confidence. And, he kind of told me from that point on, once he kind of started thinking that way, it helped his confidence a lot. So we clicked. He definitely did get on my nerves a little bit the first couple nights, but like I said, I don't think he's as bad of a dude as they're making him out to be.
Well, he was on the show here. I mean, he was one of our guests, 2 weeks ago?
He was
he was totally cool.
He was fine.
Obviously, when he gets a few drinks in him, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type deal, but he was cool. He was a nice guy. He was actually very polite, so I liked him.
He's a cool dude. I always liked him, no issues.
Listen, he's not the first guy that we've seen or known that gets a few drinks in him
Or
and
the
acts a little
last.
different.
Well, I mean, we've all
Exactly.
been there, right? It
Exactly.
happens.
I've been there.
There's a few people who do have a complete switch.
It is
I
a
mean,
Jekyll and Hyde for some people, right? Some
Yeah.
people get a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Some people get a little more obnoxious.
Yeah, because when I met him in the back, like he said, he was a cool ass dude. He was cool, and he was cool when we got into the house. And as soon as he started drinking, that's when everything flipped. And like I said, I I was trying to be the peacemaker in the house. I was cool with everyone, so I was telling him like, bro, do you want to be a star or not? Like, you don't want to look like this. And you know, I mean, looking like that, he's kind of getting a little more fame than everyone else. So
he's gotten a little
he's getting
more
a lot of screen time.
Yeah, he's gotten a little more airtime for sure.
Facts.
How many times did you say you made Azael tap out?
it's about 4 times in 1 minute. So.
4 times.
And
Okay.
I figured he would. I wasn't doing it to be a dick. I was trying to, burn him out of some energy.
Yeah.
And
Again, like a small child. Isn't that what parents do? They try to run their kids into the ground right before bed so they're exhausted.
yeah.
There you
go. He jumped up and he kept going. So I was like, all right.
Like the Energizer
Yeah.
Bunny, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well now we have question time, guys. We are going to ask you both questions. Just blurt out whatever comes to mind. But first, we have to do something based on Azael because the man loves to drink. So if you were to make a cocktail that would embody Azael, what ingredients are you putting in it?
Hallerhead, and Hallerhead.
Triple Hallerhead.
I'll second that. Yeah.
That's all he needs. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets going off that.
Maybe some
That's-
tequila. But,
Okay.
I think he was drinking a little bit of tequila when he was in there too.
It's
I don't
like a
think it
Long
was all
Island iced tea. You just put a
Hallerhead.
little bit of all the alcohol
Yeah,
in
there
there
you go.
and
That's
stir it up.
perfect. Long
Yeah.
Island.
There's
yeah.
a name for that, though.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
Disgusting. That's
No,
the
like
word.
when just like when you're a bartender, all the alcohol.
Kitchen sink?
Yeah. It's
Something
called
like
the
that.
kitchen sink or something.
Okay, guys, if you could get a free slap on anybody, all right? We're not talking sanctioned competition here. You just get a slap on whoever you want in the house. Who are you choosing?
In the house.
This is not a hard question. Who do you hate?
I'm
Who
saying,
do you not
I'm
like?
saying Anthony Green, yeah, or Chris Thomas, one of those two.
Okay. All right. What about smartest person in the house, Waylon?
Smartest person.
Smartest
in the house.
person in the house.
Oh shit! I think you're looking at him.
Oh,
Yeah?
take that cake.
Life insurance salesman right here. I can sell you some life insurance. What do you think, Robert?
Yeah, Waylon's a super smart dude, but if you're talking about street smarts, I'm gonna say Slap Jesus.
Oh gosh.
That guy could get you through anything on the streets.
I don't know.
You know,
He could get you in some trouble.
somehow I
fix
beg
it.
to differ on that, but I'm not sure. I think he said he had like 18 girlfriends when he was here last week.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound smart to me.
Yeah.
I think you
As a
got
man, I think
you
you
got
gotta
to
get
be
into
different ways
trouble.
to get out of a situation, though.
Yeah.
What about dumbest person in the house?
Dumbest person in the house.
There has to
person in
be
the
a
house.
handful of guys that just come on.
Yeah, come on,
I
just
would
say
say
it. No one, you don't need to be nice here.
probably Anthony Green or Chris Thomas. One of those two
Seems
guys.
to be a theme here.
Like Robert's
those
struggling
answers.
right now. I can see the wheels turning in your head. You don't even want to say somebody, but
Yeah,
you're gonna have to.
it might be Chris Thomas or my boy Emmanuel. Shout out Emmanuel. 'Cause He's
Emmanuel
he's a
Muniz.
young kid. He doesn't know too much.
That's
yet,
fair. He's
so-
young. He is a nice guy.
Yeah, he's
I'm a
super
big
cool.
fan of Emmanuel.
Yeah, he's super cool.
All right, who smells the worst in the house?
Somebody must have been farting all the time.
Yeah, or just like they stink.
Bro, it was, and I know he got kicked out, but it was Mitchell.
Really?
He's a big, heavy dude,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's sweating constantly, eating constantly. Yeah, it had to have been Mitchell.
All right, smelly
I'd
one.
say it had
So you
to
don't
been
want to follow
Mitchell.
him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
No.
You got a different one?
Mitchell, maybe John Kennedy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's do a little raw slap. Have you guys seen this before on After Slap? We're gonna do your competition with Anthony Green. I want you to walk us through everything, starting with the walkout here. And the funniest part of the walkout was did you walk into a closet? Because, all right, you walk out and then you take a turn here right about now. What was that?
Man, I was super excited to get out there. I was ready to go.
Amazing.
And I guess I wasn't really paying attention on the walkthrough. Like, I was just trying to get to the stage. And yeah, when I walked in that room, I even thought to myself, I'm like, shit, I'm already
Where
fumbling
am
the
I?
bag. I'm like, where am I going?
Now you're kind of slapping yourself, getting you hyped
Right
up a
here,
little
getting
bit.
myself ready, just in case I had to take a slap. And Anthony's a super cool dude. We're friends here outside the slap, but I'm here to win. And I was ready to put all the power I had on anyone.
Do you feel like the nerves that build before a fight? Were they the same type of nerves you experienced here?
I had way more nerves before a fight. And for the reason of that being is you got to stand there and take an open hit. You can't defend yourself. There's the money.
Well, you didn't have to take a hit though, thank goodness.
There's the money.
Wow. And what was your mental reaction when you saw him go down like that?
I knew he wasn't gonna get up. I saw his eyes roll back. He stiffened up. And, you know, I had to go talk to Dana. I'm an MMA fighter, and I'm trying to get in the UFC. I said, put me on, Dana.
Maybe the Ultimate Fighter, or maybe Dana White's Contender Series could be an avenue for you down the road.
Yes, and that's what I'm looking for. I wanted to show Dana the power I got, and he's seen it, so hopefully some soon.
Definitely not a bad thing to be putting on that type of display in front of Dana White. Waylon, I saw a little smile come on your face when Anthony Green went down there. Did you enjoy that?
I mean, yeah, I wish it would have been me doing it, but yeah, so.
Why the hate for Anthony Green?
I don't know. Anthony Green just kind of like, for one, he backed out of his first fight, so I don't feel like he deserved to be in the house at all. Thankfully, they needed to give Robert an opponent, so, that's how he got in there. And then he got in the house and was just, like, acting kind of like an asshole from the start. So, like, dude, like, he didn't deserve to be there, and then he gets there and he's, like, kind of acting like an asshole, like, you need to, like, shut up and just kind of earn your spot in the house,
Did you ever almost get into it with him in the house?
Not really. I was only there for, like, a night after he got there, so, yeah.
That's probably for the best then, right?
Yeah, for him, yeah.
I love the energy. The tensions are building. Guess what, everyone? There's only 2 episodes left in the season, if you can believe it. So no turning back now. There will be no slowing down. So here's a sneak peek of what you can expect next week on Power Slap Road to the Title.
We can go any time, any place, anywhere.
PC up, not what you want.
I ain't gonna PC up to
slap the out of you.
Yeah, I'll beat the out of you. Every way. You ain't gonna be hey, bitch. I'm in the wall, bitch. Yeah, bitch. Bitch, I'm a what? You're my bitch. Dog.
Yeah, look at your little girly ass hair.
Yeah, that's why you got dropped on your ass.
Yeah, I didn't get dropped. It's on camera. Let me drop dead, yeah.
You ain't
You're
never gonna be shit. You're gonna be on my list. You ain't built for this.
You ain't
At the After Slap canvas. But before we get to that, these 2 dummies, how much did you wish that you were in on that action in place of Slap Jesus? Because I know you're not a big fan of Chris Thomas.
It would have been great. I would even just like to be there to see it happen. But, yeah, no, unfortunately I had to get out there the day before, but at least he got it, so.
What were your thoughts when you saw that?
I'd like to see him in an actual fight. Let it keep going. And, both guys are kind of loopy, so it'd be cool to watch them actually fight.
You know what? Loopy is a good, nice, kind word.
It's a very
freaking
kind word.
Nuts.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that whole clip was Vern Cathy sitting on the bottom bunk, not even moving. And this is like the father figure in the house, right? Normally he's like breaking stuff up, but he doesn't. These 2 clowns he wants nothing to do with.
He'd had enough of it.
Yeah.
I think he was done with all the BS.
Yeah, there was no question in my mind. Are you guys ready for the After Slap canvas?
Yes,
you know how this works?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's get a Sharpie here. We'll get it all ready for you, Waylon, first. So pick a spot, sign your name.
Ooh, that's a nice spot.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Look, it's like he almost has like a geometry type head because he knew exactly where to go.
He's playing Tetris.
That.
Oh, ice cold.
Oh.
Ice cold. All right, let's
love it.
Let's get you over here, brother. Get your. All right, Waylon, how about this? Since I know that you do MMA as well,
yes, sir.
Whatever hand you want, just get it in there real good. Yeah, there you go. I got to towel
Like
for
you're
you.
back in school.
There you go. Favorite UFC athlete
Anderson Silva.
That's a good choice.
Anderson Silva's the GOAT to me. That's the GOAT right there.
So good for so long. There's no doubt about that. Oh, this is good. I like how you just found the one open spot to finish that corner.
Wow.
Here's the towel for you, buddy.
That's a nice print,
Thanks,
too. Very complete.
It's clean. It's very clean.
It's a clean slap.
All right, no pressure, Robert.
I know.
Let's see if you can get a clean print like that.
I don't think I could do it. Oh.
Yeah, no clubbing on that one.
All right. No.
Look at that.
That was perfectly placed.
And if we're talking technique, Robert, I told you at the beginning, your technique, in my opinion, may be the most perfect. It's just everything about it looks so technical.
Yeah, I even asked him, I said, you need an assistant coach next season? I said, I'll teach some people out there.
No, for real,
same
though.
exact way. And like I said, being an MMA fighter, I always try to make sure my technique is perfect on everything. So once I learned the technique for slap, I had to make sure I had it down perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Robert, what about for you? Favorite UFC athlete of all time?
I love Anderson too, but I have to go with GSP. In my opinion, he's the best pure fighter of all time.
I mean, they're both in the GOAT conversation in their respective weight classes. I mean, Dana has said he thinks John Jones is the greatest of all time, but there can be many GOATs, right? There's a lot of different GOATs.
Of course. You know, it's funny that you should mention Dana White at a time like this because tentatively scheduled for next week,
that's right,
the boss man, Dana White, right here in studio for After Slap. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. And of course, one other very special guest will be joining him as well. But that is just one more reason why you should be tuning into After Slap each and every week. Only 2 episodes left to go in the entire season. So that's all going down Wednesday, March 1st, right after Power Slap Road to the Title, which airs on TBS, 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, Dan.
For Waylon and Robert and Charlie, I'm Dan. Another great episode of After Slap. We'll see you next week on Rumble, folks.